Hey everybody, so today I want to do an in-person video and kind of just talk about Pokemon investing in the hobby right now and where it's at. And I'm going to be honest, I am a little bit worried about a lot of the people in the hobby. And, on my channel over the past month, 2 months, I've seen a lot more arguing in the comments and people that, reply to videos I make and say things that aren't constructive and they're really just arguing. And not just on my channel, right? Because there was always people that did that, but I'm seeing it more on other people's channels as well. People just arguing about certain investments and things that I'll say I know are wrong or more than likely will end up being wrong. And I know that just because I made those same mistakes 8, 10, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, doing the exact same things that certain people are doing now that they think are right, but when in reality, once they try and offload them or once the bull market stops, they're going to be in for a rough surprise, right? And it's not going to be fun. And I know a lot of people are going to end up getting tied up with a lot of really shit inventory that they can't sell, or they're going to have to sell at a loss, or stuff that it's just going to take up a lot of space in their home, and it's going to be ugly to look at, and they're really going to hate their decisions in a year from now or 2 years from now if they just don't learn these lessons, right? So uh, I'll give an example back in Boxing Day 2023, right? So over a year ago, I bought a lot of the 2022 collector's chests from Hobbiesville. I think I paid 17.50, $18 Canadian, something like that for them a piece. I bought I bought a lot of them, like 20 or more than that, maybe 30 of them. I thought it was a really good deal, and I figured I'd just be able to sell them locally for $25, $30, like $5 Canadian a pack. There was Fusion Strike in there, Silver Tempest and Astral. I did think they were going to have Lost Origin instead of Silver Tempest, but they were all the repacked ones with silver, which probably made it a bit worse. But point being, right? I thought I was going to be able to make somewhere between 25 and 55%, something in that range. Move them fairly fast. I thought there was going to be a market for them. I'd make some money. What ended up happening was I think I sold one for $30. And then the rest of them, if you can see, were on this wall in my closet. And they were just stacked one on top of the other. And they sat there forever. They didn't sell. None of them sold. I ended up breaking down a few of them. My girlfriend and I opened probably four of them. And she ended up opening the Gengar VMAX Alt Art from Fusion Strike on our first ever Fusion Strike pack. So that was definitely, an awesome experience. But point being, right, I couldn't sell any of them. They were impossible to move. I ended up breaking them all down and then just taking the packs and, making lots. And I probably still have some of the packs, but I do move through a lot of loose packs at this point. But point being, right, it was a really bad product just because it didn't sell well. People don't want to buy tins if they don't know exactly what packs are inside. They don't store well, right? They weren't perfect and square. The handle for the lunchbox was on the outside, so and just the shape of the box, right? It wasn't a perfect square, so you couldn't really stack them properly. Like if you went more than 5 or 6 high, they started to fall over, and that's why they were all pushed against the wall in there. But outside of that, right? Once you break them down, the things that people don't realize, you have a lot of waste that you got to get rid of. Like there's all the plastic wrapping on the outside. Pokemon puts that like cardboard, I guess it's like the cardboard thing that shows the packs and stuff, that was under the plastic but outside the lunchbox. Like you have all of those that you got to recycle. And then you have all the lunch boxes and then like everything on the inside, right? You have the promo cards, which is more plastic. There's a coin, there's all this stuff. Luckily, I found someone locally to take all that, but point being, it was way too much work. I didn't sell any of it, except one. And just the amount of time I had to put in to move stuff like that is just the biggest pain in the ass. And it wasn't worth it. And I see people doing the same thing now, right? We all know someone who's going to their local Walmart, or, they're buying out stores online. They're buying really bad collection boxes and stuff, or, the tins. And they think that they're going to be able to sell them for, 3, 4, 5x gains in the next 5, 10 years. And they're going to be millionaires and whatever, right? You get the point. That's just not going to happen. And, you know, there's a group of people that are a step up from that as well, that know not to buy stuff like that, but they're buying other things, right? And this is probably where the majority of people lie. So, uh, probably the best example is Shrouded Fable right now. There are a lot of people that said that Shrouded Fable was underrated, and They think it's a great investment and they've bought a lot of Shredded Fable. And I've made videos talking about this. You guys all know I'm the number one Shredded Fable hater. But the point being, Shrouded Fable compared to the rest of Scarlet Violet era is still a really bad investment, right? Like you could have bought any of the booster boxes and had a higher percentage gain. They're probably going to be easier to move. And I know like a lot of people bought in at, $28 in ETB or $30 in ETB. Like sure, get some exposure, that's fine. You're probably already up 50% on your money, but you could have been up like 100% if you bought anything else. So whatever, like fair play to you. But the point being, in a year or 2 years, do people really think that Shrouded Fable is going to be as desired as a lot of other sets and it's going to be easy to move? I don't think so, right? When you compare Shrouded Fable to the rest of Scarlet and Violet era, it's probably the second or third worst set, maybe even the worst set, right? Like, do people want to open base set and chase the Gardevoir and the Miriam more than, maybe the Persian and the Houndoom and the Dust Noir line? But outside of that, like, yeah, I mean, there's just not much that's good inside Shrouded Fable. And a lot of the cards are playable. Like, you have the Earthen Vessel, you have Pheasantipity. I'm sure there's other ones I'm forgetting as well. But, once the set is out of rotation, it's not playable. Are people really going to want to open it? There's no top chase card. There's no real good chase card. What is the peak on a set like that? Probably not super high, right? Whereas, something like Twilight Masquerade. And again, this is another mistake I made. I didn't think Twilight Masquerade was going to be good. I didn't initially really buy any Twilight Masquerade. I canceled getting the PCTBs because I hated the promo. And, that's one of the best sets in Scarlet and Violet era now. When you look at the data, outside of Surging Sparks, I think it is the second best booster box set right now. And I imagine it's going to move down. I think that the Team Rocket set's probably going to be better if we get some good cards. Journey Together could potentially be better than Twilight as well. So, once all is said and done, like Twilight Masquerade could really be a middle of the road set, but it's still going to be good just because that Greninja is a $350 card that people want to chase, right? Paradox Rift, the Groudon's over $100. People want to chase that. Paldea Evolved, the Magikarp's over $200, $225. People will always want to chase that. The Pikachu from Surging Sparks, say what you want about the artwork, but that's a $475 card right now. Even if it was $250, people are still going to want to open that set and chase it, especially with the Latias EX in there, the Milotic, the Hydreigon. Like, the sets are good, right? So, a lot of people are buying stuff right now and they're seeing good gains, but they're just becoming way too overconfident, right? So once we hit a bear market, once these people can't make 100% on their money every single year, once these people start trying to move product and they realize if you don't have a good eBay store, if you don't have good feedback on Facebook Marketplace, if you don't live in a big city center and there's not really a local market around you, and you don't offer good shipping and fast shipping and stuff like that, like a lot of these people are going to realize that being in Pokemon is a lot less fun than they thought it was, or they thought it was going to be, right? So I would just tell a lot of these people right now, be humble. And look, like a lot of people say I'm a bad investor, I make mistakes, and I'm the first person to admit that, right? Like I am still learning this hobby. I do a lot of things wrong, especially when it comes to singles, but even sealed investments, right? Like I should have bought way more Evolving Skies when I should have. And, my thought process was I would just buy ancillary products with Evolving Skies, and that would do just as well. And, for the most part, a lot of these products that I bought that had Evolving Skies in them, they've done well. But when I compare it to something like the actual booster box, right, like this, they've underperformed. So in that same time period, I could have put that 3 or 4 grand that I put into ancillary products, put it all into booster boxes, and made an extra 25 to 50% on my money. So, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to get better at certain things. And, you're never too old or too experienced to learn, right? And especially from people that are maybe even newer to you. So when I see a lot of these people arguing or saying certain things and they're getting into the hobby and they're new in the hobby, and I see them doing things that I did 12 months, 18 months ago, and they think they're right, that's where I get worried, right? Just because a lot of these people are going to have a really rough time once the bull market ends. So, if I could leave you guys with one thing in this video, it would just be don't be too overconfident right now. Obviously, don't be over leveraged. If you're making money, that's great. If someone else is making money, that's awesome. Like if someone invested in Shrouded Fable and they're out 50, 60%, dope. But, I personally don't think that that's going to be a better investment than pretty much any booster box we've seen so far in Scarlet and Violet era. And it's definitely not going to be as good of an investment as any of the other specialty sets. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I personally think that, in a few years, even if we're not in a bull market anymore, I'm going to be able to move something like this, okay? 151. I know for a fact I'm going to be able to move something like this Crown Zenith. And you know why I know that? When we weren't in a bull market at the end of last year, earlier this year, in 2024, the thing that I sold the most, even locally in my small town, was Crown Zenith. I had some Crown Zenith ETBs, a couple booster bundles, stuff like that. That stuff always flew, even locally in my really small area. So I know that stuff like this, 151 Crown Zenith, even when we're not in a good time, I'm going to be able to move that. Evolving Skies. I sold lots of 36 packs, a couple of them when I was funding a purchase for my laptop, which is in front of me. Got a nice work laptop. I was able to sell those pretty much instantly, even when we weren't in a bull market. Stuff like Lost Origin. I've been able to move tons of booster boxes, loose packs. Same thing with Fusion Strike. Booster boxes, loose packs, those always go. And even Chilling Rain. Like a lot of this stuff, it's always going to be moving for me. And I've made some bad purchases as well, like I said. And there are a couple things that I'm worried about right now. They aren't my best buys, but I still think that they're going to be decent buys over the next 6 to 12 months. And, I'm putting this in here not because I think it's good information for you guys, but more for my purposes when I look back at this at, maybe 12 months, 18 months down the road. I did buy a lot of these Fusion Strike build and battle kits. And I think just because Fusion Strike's a really strong set, these are going to do quite well, but we will see when it comes to offloading them how that goes. I also bought a lot of these Cyrus premium tournament collections. I bought a lot of them on Hobbiesville. I've bought a few more from the Pokemon Center. I think once these sell out, because they're one of the last products with Sword and Shield on the Pokemon Center, I'm probably going to break a lot of these down, if I'm being honest. They have Silver Tempest, Astral, Fusion Strike, and I think 1 Brilliant Stars in them. So decent pack selection, right? They just take up a lot of space. They don't look good. These, things on top, they get quite flimsy, and you can also glue and unglue these back things. So just not the best to store and stuff like that. But I bought a lot of those just because, we're at that era right now where Sword and Shield's basically gone. And I do think that I'm going to be able to just make pack lots out of these over the next year or so and offload them. But yeah, again, like those are a couple things that I'm worried about personally. But looking back at it, right? Because a year ago, when I looked at my breakdown, I think I had about 60% of all my investments in booster boxes, booster bundles, or ETBs. I had a lot of stuff in, tins and ancillary products. Now it's over 82% in booster boxes, booster bundles, and ETBs. So I feel much more confident in the stuff that I have. And, the stuff like this that I bought for short-term flips. Same thing with those Electrode V boxes back there. I actually sold a lot of those today. I think I have 10 left, but stuff like that is just for the short term. But I figured I'd throw it in here at the end of this video just to serve as a reference for 1 to 2 years down the line to see if that was another bad play or not. But anyways, guys, just keep learning, be humble, enjoy the process, but just don't get too overconfident, right? There's always something that we can learn. And just because you're doing well right now doesn't mean that you're going to be doing as great in a year or 2 years. So, just be ready for what's to come and be smart about it. So thank you so much for watching the video. Comment down below if you disagree or agree with anything. I'm always curious to hear from you guys, and catch you in the next one.